watching SKST Radio.
Well, welcome to another episode of SKST Radio, and we're talking Small Business Network, and we have a beautiful special lady that's here. She's the queen today.
Yes.
We have RanaPeri Davis. Welcome to the show.
Oh, wow. I love the intro music. That was like a little blues, and I was listening to that early, and I was just kind of getting
your groove ready,
yeah,
right?
I know. I am so excited to be here. I just have one small correction.
Okay.
It's Rana.
Rana. See, I knew that. I knew you knew it. You know what? Tell people who you are and what you do.
I am RanaPeri Davis, and I am the CAD coach. What is a CAD coach? Change, achieve, do. That is the methodology and the program that I use when I coach. A little bit about me personally. I became a life coach in 2019. I'm one of those kind of people, someone plants a seed in you and you know that it's supposed to germinate. I was on probably one of the most rewarding jobs that I've ever been on, professionally and personally. And I was in a conversation with someone and they said, "You need to be a life coach." I'm like, "No, I think I do." You know how that seed, and I've always been inquisitive, one that always asks questions and I wait for the answers. And maybe I ask too many questions, maybe I'm annoying, but I always want people to think because I'm such a deep thinker. And it just seemed to go in line. So by the end of that, I think she said that in January 2019. And at the end, I was a certified life coach, which in this space, you don't necessarily have to be certified. Yeah, I thought it was a good thing because anyone can say that they're a life coach and everyone is in a sense. I mean, wouldn't you think that everyone is a life coach in a sense? Because we've all been through something.
Exactly. And we all have a story. I absolutely agree.
Yes. And we all have learned tools in which to get through life. So I got certified in 2019 and then 2020 came and I'm a little impulsive and God said, "Quit your job." This was a job I told you that lined me up for everything. Yet it had served its purpose. You know, when things serve their purpose. And I went and I started, that was right before COVID. That was February 2020. COVID came March 2020. And for that first couple of years, I struggled in defining what kind of coaching business I wanted. I was out there on Instagram. Everybody was a coach. Everybody that you scrolled on was a coach. Coach is this, coach that.
Yes.
And it was like finding my people, finding my tribe. And I stumbled for a while. Initially, it was divorced women because I was a divorced woman after 30 years of marriage. I was the one who left. And through that experience, I learned that statistically, 60% of marriages end by the women initiating them.
Wow.
And then in that group, 35% of those women are African-American women.
Wow.
And when I initially became a coach and started going through the divorce process, I looked around and in the churches, in my neighboring churches, there was no divorce care. I had to go outside my community for it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which was striking. And that's still something that I'm going to embark upon because it's needed. Again, I say out of that 67, 35% of women are African-American women. So I said, where is the help? Where do we go? And my focus initially was on divorced women, taking them through that process.
Right.
And then I realized you're divorced, but that's just a part of your life. You know, I realized that a common thing to me was in order for anyone to achieve anything, they had to change something so they could do. Henceforth, CAD, it's like, epiphany. And so that's when I started more initiating and implementing the CAD method of achieving, changing, and doing. And so I've kind of segued a little more into doing strategic planning for small businesses and business development. And now interesting, as life would have it, 3 years later, life changed. You have to be just open to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a t-shirt that says life happens, living takes effort, because life is going to happen no matter
Right.
what. So over the past year or so, I've been caring for my 93-year-old father and his hands-on 24-hour a day caregiver, even though he's
Mm-hmm.
wonderful. If you see him come through here, I'm actually in Baltimore for this one. So you may see him meander through here and this kind of pop in or whatever. If so, that's my father. And just going through that process, you think
Mm-hmm.
you're ready.
You're not.
Mm-mm. No, no way. And I really had to dig deep to my coaching. I had to coach myself. And some days, and I use this CAD method through everything, because it's not just about setting long-term goals and short-term goals. It's like, what do I want to achieve today? And that's how I had to get into the nitty-gritty as I was caring for my father and then trying to build my business and expanding.
Mm-hmm.
Each day, it's like, what do you want to achieve today?
Right.
Is there anything that you can change to achieve that? And then what are you going to do? I literally had to do that just about every day to help me through the process. So the method is not just a one and done. I think it applies to anything that anyone wants to achieve in life daily.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, and the coping skills. And I think over the process, it's about the coping skills that you develop. And so through that whole process, I have built a coaching business, still fine tuning, because again, life just has a way
It
of saying,
evolves. Yeah.
yes, and saying that maybe you need to change directions, and being flexible enough to realize that maybe you need to change directions. So
Mm-hmm.
that's just a little bit about me. Well, just a little bit. I'm a mother of three, a Gen X, a millennial, and a Gen Y, I think. I had to look them up. So, yeah, yeah. I was a wife, a mother, and widow by the age of 22
Oh, wow.
to a man who was unable to love in a healthy manner at all times. I called it something different. I called it what the world called it,
Mm-hmm.
abuse. And then that said, that may make me a victim,
Yeah.
in other people's eyes. Nah, and I was never a victim. And I believe he wanted to love. He was just unable to love in that healthy manner. And
Mm-hmm.
all of those things. And I got married, divorced after 30 years. My foreman and I are like that, I mean, just wonderful. And all of my life, and because of life, it, I think, has made me a better life coach. Because my father says, honey, baby doll, he says, you're a life coach. So you help people with life. And as I'm
Mm-hmm.
coaching others, I coach myself as well.
Yeah. Well, of course, you got to have a taste of your own medicine, right?
Yes,
If you
yes,
don't know how it tastes, how can you tell someone and coach them and say, "Hey, this is good. Try
that's
it."
right. That's
So
right.
you
That's
have
right.
to be a person to take your own medicine. So let me ask you this:
Yeah.
so you're doing this self care, you helping your father and everything. What do you actually do for yourself though? What do you do to keep yourself motivated and in that situation? Because I
Mhm,
have to admit, 2020 March, it took a lot out of all of us. And
mhm,
so to
mhm.
start from that to the healing process to find out that there is tons of people doing what you do, so
Yes.
what do you do for yourself to keep you motivated?
Well, first of all, self care. And I think that's important. I take care of self first before I can even be motivated mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. I follow a routine to stay motivated. I get up no matter what. I'm here with my father, and we'll be for the next week, 5:15 or 5:10 every day. Why the difference is just like I like to be rebellious. I don't like to get up at 5 o'clock or 5:30. It's like I'm gonna pick some place in between. What keeps me motivated is my why. I Before I became a life coach, I started picking the brains of women. And a common theme that I find for women is that they ask the question, who am I? That's what keeps me motivated. I hear it so many times, time and time again, because I remember when I left my marriage in 2015, it took 3 years of probably every day asking myself, who are you? Like, why would you leave a marriage then? Could you have stayed with him? He was a wonderful man. There was no abuse. There was no of this. I lost respect for him, literally. That's all. And then I started acting in a way, how women can be, when we're disrespectful. Come on, when we have the little bite in our mouths,
Of
we
course.
have a tinge about ourselves and we say, oh, that's just the way I am. Yeah, that may be the way you are, yet it's still disrespectful. I digress. I'm sorry. But yeah, and so I took 3 years to really, who are you, Rana? Married, uh, teen mom, 16, 18, and then 22. Moved from Baltimore to Columbia, South Carolina in 1988 when there were marches going on, Ku Klux Klan, and just a different time,
Mhm.
and so during those 3 years that I left my marriage, I really went inside myself to say, who are you? Like, who at your core? Who are you? And that's what keeps me motivated, because time and time again, that's what women struggle with, because we put on all this stuff.
Mhm.
Society says, that person says, our mothers say, this person. And then we're left with, who am I as a person? That's literally, I kid you not. And what keeps me motivated when I'm scrolling social media, TikTok, these young women that are struggling with their identities. I'm not talking about necessarily sexuality, their identities. That's what keeps me motivated. And it may sound like, no, it doesn't. That is because I have daughters and I know how
Mhm.
they struggle even under my mothership. So I'm just wondering, these young women who have no mothers or mother wounds and all that. So that's what keeps me motivated, what I see every day. And if I can just make maybe one post that connects with somebody, send
Mhm.
out one call, one text, or something that connects with someone, be at a venue that people say, that makes me think, then that's what drives me. Yeah, that's it.
Wow. So who is your ideal customer?
That woman saying, that person doesn't necessarily have to be a woman. That's what's drawn to me. That's asking themselves that question. Who am I? What do I want to achieve? What do I need to change? Not want to change, need. That you're honest enough to address what you need to change. And a person who, one of my programs that I institute is in positive intelligence. And
Okay.
it's a thinking that as children, we adapt saboteurs, 9 of them, instinctually, whether we've had a wonderful childhood or not. And we wrestle with this as adults. They might have, served us well as children. Now, as adults, those are the things that are really causing us angst and that toxicity and that negativity in us. And I incorporate positive intelligence into the practice. And since I've done that, it's really been instrumental. So, who
Mhm.
is my ideal client? Again, that client that wants to achieve something, that knows first they have to change something and that are unafraid to do it. The
Mhm.
person that's tired of all the negative talk in their head, being stuck. We hear stuck, but just dog tired of being tired. The person that is unafraid and ready to really get to the nitty gritty. I'm not a therapist. We don't go like back in time, but
Right.
a person who is willing to be honest with themselves, take accountability for whatever has happened in the past, not to blame themselves, but to move forward.
So how do you know if you fit in that category? Because a lot of people they're not true to themselves. A lot of people pretend to be more than what they are.
Hmm.
You have a lot of negativity
Yeah.
that's out there in the world today, where people they do things just to make them feel better about themselves.
Yes.
That bully. Those
Yeah.
bullies are back,
Yes,
and
they are
so yeah, they're back and
with the
they're in
vengeance.
full force. Yes, and then you got the Karens out there. You got those
Mhm.
Karens that it's them.
Yeah.
So how do you filter out to get to that right person? You know.
The person, two things. The person has to be willing, because I can talk all day. I can come here and I can offer this. I can